My beloved, come closer in your attention. There is something I want you to understand that you have carried questions about for a long time. You have walked through seasons where progress seemed to halt without warning. Directions you felt confident and suddenly narrowed. Hopes you invested in carefully appeared to dissolve just as you reached for them. Each time something collapsed, it left a quiet weight inside you, a question that lingered longer than the disappointment itself. You wondered whether the resistance meant you were mistaken. You wondered whether your discernment could be trusted. You wondered whether effort would always end in the same silence. I know how those moments shaped your thoughts. I saw how you began measuring your steps more cautiously, replaying old outcomes before daring to move again. I saw how anticipation slowly learned fear. I saw how confidence tried to survive while uncertainty whispered alternatives. But listen to me now with a settled heart. None of those experiences were wasted. None of those interruptions were empty. Nothing you endured was random or misjudged. What felt like loss was refinement. What appeared to be delay was alignment. What you interpreted as failure was preparation unfolding quietly beneath the surface. You were never being pushed backward. You were being formed inwardly. I was present when each plan unraveled. I was attentive when doors closed without explanation. I was not observing from a distance. I was shaping something within you that could not have emerged any other way. Strength was being layered. Discernment was being sharpened. Compassion was being expanded. Your inner world was being trained to carry weight without breaking. You are not approaching this moment empty-handed. You are arriving with depth, awareness, and resilience forged through experience. You are not beginning again, you are continuing with wisdom. Remain with these words. Do not rush past them. What I am revealing will bring clarity to what once confused you. There is a reason the road behind you looks the way it does. Many times you felt caught between certainty and doubt. One moment, clarity felt undeniable, something steady and assured rising from within. The next, that clarity seemed distant, replaced by questions that tangled your thoughts and blurred your sense of direction. You asked yourself whether you were hearing truth or simply echoing desire. You questioned whether insight was genuine or imagined. You felt steady, then suddenly unanchored. That inner disorientation did not mean you were drifting aimlessly. It meant you were learning to distinguish between competing voices. Your worries spoke. Your past spoke. Your expectations spoke. External pressures spoke. And beneath them all, quieter but constant, my guidance remained. I did not stop leading you when confusion appeared. I did not withdraw when clarity wavered. I continued directing your steps even when you could not identify the pattern. Growth often feels like disorientation before it becomes understanding. What you interpreted as being lost was actually transition. Your inner awareness was adjusting to a new way of moving, a different level of responsibility, a deeper alignment with purpose. You were not off course. You were changing form. And yes, memory influenced you. You remembered every attempt that ended prematurely. You recalled each time hope surged and then stalled. You replayed moments when effort met resistance instead of reward. Those memories became filters. They made you hesitate. They made you calculate outcomes before acting. They made you question whether momentum was safe. But hear this clearly, those experiences were not conclusions. They were instruction. Each interruption taught you endurance. Each disappointment refined your priorities. Each unmet expectation clarified your values. What did not unfold as planned strengthened your capacity to carry what is coming. Your history does not disqualify you from the future I am unfolding. It qualifies you. You were not lacking ability. You encountered resistance. The pressure you felt was not proof of limitation. It was evidence of significance. Opposition arose because something meaningful was forming. Forces that thrive on stagnation recognize movement before it becomes visible. They sense momentum while it is still internal. The struggle intensified because your emergence mattered. Resistance increases when potential threatens to surface. That is why progress felt obstructed at critical moments. That is why clarity was challenged. That is why determination was tested. Not because you were incapable, but because what you carry disrupts inertia. Yet even in those moments I did not abandon you. I guarded what was forming. I preserved your spirit. I limited what could reach you before you were ready. Now listen carefully. The season of preparation has reached its turning point. What has been forming quietly within you is ready to move outward. The internal strength developed through endurance is meant to translate into action. Not through force, not through pressure, but through readiness. This moment is not imposed. It is offered. Everything aligned for you requires your participation. What I have prepared waits for your presence, your consent, your willingness to step forward. Conditions are aligned. Opportunity is positioned. Purpose is accessible. And your inner foundation is finally capable of sustaining what comes next. I have observed every tear that fell when words could not explain the weight you carried. Each moment of stillness, each pause born from uncertainty, I understood them fully. I did not judge your hesitation. I honored your heart. But now, stillness must transition into movement. Inner resolve must express itself through deliberate action. Trust must become embodied through steps, not just belief. You may not feel entirely confident. That does not negate readiness. You may still question your strength. That does not erase it. Your past may echo caution. That does not override calling. I'm not calling you later. I'm calling you now. Not when everything feels controlled. Not when uncertainty disappears. But in this present moment, exactly as you are. I'm not here to burden you. I am here to clear the way. Not to instill fear, but to anchor assurance. Not to expose fault, but to pour affirmation. The entrance ahead is unobstructed. Advance. Move forward. Cross the threshold. This moment belongs to you and I am with you. Listen again because what follows is essential. There are specific moments where alignment converges. Times when preparation, desire, and opportunity intersect with precision. These moments are not indefinite. They appear with intention and require recognition. They arrive quietly like a shift in the air. A sense that something is different, not because circumstances announce it, but because your inner awareness responds. These moments are shaped deliberately. They do not occur by coincidence or favorable timing. They are formed by careful orchestration. And you are within such a moment now. This opening carries purpose. It holds transformation. It offers access to what could not be reached before. You may feel a subtle pull within, a gentle urgency that does not pressure but invites. A recognition without full explanation. A calm expectancy that something meaningful is unfolding. That sensation is not imagination. It is awareness responding to alignment. Your deeper self recognizes an opening your analytical mind has not fully processed yet. These moments are and I draw near with clarity. My beloved, what stands before you now is not an abstract promise, but a living opening, one shaped with intention, one that responds to who you have become. There are moments when time itself seems to narrow, when many possible paths give way to one clear passage. These moments do not arrive loudly. They are marked by a quiet gravity, a sense that choice carries unusual weight. You are within such a moment. What you feel is not pressure, it is convergence. The gathering of experience, endurance, wisdom, and readiness into a single point of action. Until now, much of your strength was forged inwardly. You learned restraint. You learned discernment. You learned how to remain steady without reassurance. But inner formation was never meant to be the final stage. It was preparation for expression. What is being asked of you now is not to become someone new, but to allow what has already been shaped within you to move outward. You are no longer being protected by delay. You are being trusted with responsibility. This calling does not come because you have mastered everything. It comes because you have learned how to continue without needing certainty at every step. You understand now that meaning is not revealed all at once. It unfolds through movement. The hesitation you feel is not a flaw. It is the natural response to significance. When something matters deeply, the weight of choice becomes more apparent. But hesitation must not become retreat. You are not stepping into this alone. Support is already positioned along your path. In people, in opportunities, in provision, in insight that will arrive precisely when needed. You do not need to anticipate every obstacle. You need only to remain attentive and willing. What unfolds next will require your presence, not your perfection. You are entering a phase where your actions will have reached beyond your own life. What you carry is meant to move outward, to inform, to steady, to illuminate. This is why your journey included seasons of being unseen. You learned how to act without applause. You learned how to listen without immediate affirmation. Those lessons matter now. What emerges through you will carry authenticity, because it was formed away from performance. You may notice that circumstances begin to respond differently. Doors that once resisted will open with less effort. Connections will form with unusual ease. Timing will feel precise rather than forced. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. When inner readiness meets external opportunity, movement accelerates naturally. Still, understand this clearly. Openness does not remove responsibility. Opportunity requires engagement. You are not being carried forward passively. You are being invited to walk forward consciously. Your choices matter now more than ever. Not because failure is near, but because influence is expanding. There are others who will recognize themselves in what you live out. They may never know the full story of your preparation, but they will feel the steadiness you bring. This is how purpose moves. Quietly, relationally, through lived example. What you step into next will refine you further, not diminish you. Growth does not end with readiness. It deepens through application. You will not lose yourself in this calling. You will become more fully aligned with who you are. There will be moments that stretch you. Moments that ask for courage rather than comfort. But you have already learned how to remain grounded. When conditions are uncertain, you are not starting from the beginning. You are continuing from strength. What once felt like fragments of your life are now integrating into coherence. Your story is taking shape. This is not a call to urgency, but to intentional action. Move steadily. Move honestly. Move with awareness. You are not late. You are not behind. You are precisely where readiness meets invitation. As you step forward, you will begin to recognize how much has already been arranged. What felt withheld was being timed. What felt denied was being protected. The opening before you will not remain indefinitely. Not because it is fragile, but because it is alive, responsive to engagement. Step toward it, my beloved. As you move into this unfolding, you will notice that what you once feared lacking begins to appear in measured, timely ways. Provision rarely arrives all at once. It reveals itself in sequence, enough for the step you are taking, clarity for the decision directly before you, strength for the responsibility at hand. This is not insufficiency. It is guidance. You are being taught to move with awareness, to trust the rhythm of what is given, rather than demanding full visibility from the start. What you need will meet you in motion. As you advance, support will emerge, sometimes from expected places, often from directions you did not anticipate. A conversation will arrive at the right moment. An opportunity will present itself when readiness meets action. Insight will surface when you pause to listen. You are not required to carry this alone. What once felt overwhelming will begin to organize itself around you. Not because the task becomes smaller, but because your capacity has expanded. Fear may still attempt to speak. It will remind you of past disappointments, of moments when effort did not yield outcome. It will question whether this opening is real, or whether it will close as others did. Acknowledge fear, but do not allow it to lead. Fear is a signal, not a verdict. It appears when something meaningful is at stake. Its presence does not negate truth. You have learned how to move without certainty. Now you will learn how to move without